Once, there was a couple who loved each other very much, but things weren't going great for them. In the year of 2000, the wife found herself pregnant. Usually, this would be exciting news. However, the couple was dirt poor and couldn't afford food. Paying for their small home was even a struggle. They lived right near a 3-story natural food store run by a single older Wiccan woman. The hunger and lack of money got the best of them, and one day, they decided to steal greens from the store when night fell. Usually, the older woman who ran the store closed it and left it around 9 o'clock. At 9:30, the couple snuck next door with a paperclip. Earlier, they looked up how to unlock a door and found a tutorial on the new website eHow. With their newfound skills, they successfully unlocked the door. They flicked on the lights, closed the door behind them, and crept around the store.
Is this really a good idea?
The husband asked.
Of course it is! I have a baby on the way, we need food, and this woman has plenty of it to go around. Surely she won't miss a few vegetables,
the wife replied. The husband didn't question the idea any further, and they grabbed some veggies. First, the wife picked up some carrots, tomatoes, and celery. She moved down the aisle and gasped at the sight before her. She had found her favorite type of lettuce, Mizuna.
Darling, grab some Mizuna, please! My hands are full, I want a lot of it!
The wife exclaimed. The husband nodded and filled his arms with Mizuna. Not even a moment later, the front door burst open and spooked the couple. The wife screamed and dropped the vegetables. The owner of the store ran in and pointed a small handgun at the couple.
Please don't shoot us, we're your neighbors!
The husband pleaded. The woman put the gun down when she realized and stood before the lovers.
What do you think you're doing in my store holding my Mizuna?
She angrily questioned. The wife started apologizing.
We are so sorry, please forgive us. We're extremely poor, we just wanted something to eat. We can't afford food, we can barely pay for our house, and we have a daughter on the way.
Wait.
The store owner cut her off.
You're hungry? Well, you can have all the Mizuna you want. For a price. I want your daughter.
Excuse me? You can't have our daughter. Why would you even want her?
The husband asked.
I was never able to have a child. I'm obviously too old and single to start trying again. I want a child. You can't afford to feed yourselves, so how do you expect to feed a child? Give me the girl when she's born.
She was right about one thing. The couple could not afford to feed a child. That night, the couple sadly accepted their proposal. When their daughter was born, they delivered her to the woman. In return, they were fed every day, and things seemed okay for a while. That is, until they fell into a deep depression. The wife felt extreme guilt for giving away her child, and killed herself a year later. The husband, struck with grief, left the town and never returned. 17 years later, the daughter the store owner now had was named Mizuna, and she lived on the top floor of the woman's natural food store. It was 2018, and she was nearing her 18th birthday. She had never been outside, and she had never been on the internet. Upstairs, there was one big solitary room with only one window, some furniture, an old radio, books, a small bathroom, a closet, and a knitting set. This was Mizuna's room, where she spent all of her time. Mizuna had been trapped in her room for 17 years, and she'd never left once. The owner of the store told Mizuna that she was her birth mother, leaving Mizuna completely unaware of her actual situation and her real parents. Mizuna has never talked to anyone other than her mother figure in her life. She'd press her ear to the floor during the day when the store was open. She'd listen to the voices of the families, friends, and people who visited the store downstairs. When night fell, the people left, and Mizuna was left alone. She wished that she too could leave the building, just as those people did. There was nothing that she wanted more than to see the world. She had been confined to this single room for almost 18 years, and she was tired of it. One day, Mizuna decided that she would ask her mother if she could go outside. The woman always visited Mizuna by climbing a giant rope made out of strong cloth to her third-floor bedroom. The cloth rope was a long-term project created by Mizuna that took about 2 years to finish. It sounds like it wouldn't be sturdy, but it really was. Don't underestimate Mizuna's sewing and knitting skills, because she had been practicing every day for almost 12 years. It seemed weird for the woman to enter through a high window with a rope. However, she did this because there was no door from the second floor to the third floor. She didn't care enough to create a door, and if there was a door, then Mizuna probably would try to go through the door. and that was not an option in the woman's eyes. At 11 a.m., Mizuna danced and sang around her room to the radio. She sang along to an Ariana Grande song and hit all the whistle notes perfectly. Little did she know, there was a young man watching her from the ground. He was an 18-year-old senior in high school. He was the captain of the football team and one of the most popular guys in his school. He was known as the prince of the local high school, and that stuck as his nickname. Why was he sneaking behind this local food store on that fated day? Well, it was Senior Skip Day, a day where all the seniors planned to skip school because the year was almost over. Going behind the food store was a shortcut to his friend's house. However, he stopped dead in his tracks when he heard the most amazing voice coming from the 3rd floor. He looked up and saw a dancing girl, a beautiful dancing girl. He was shocked that he had never seen this girl before. Prince quietly crept into the store. He didn't want to bring any attention to himself, because he planned to sneak up to the 3rd floor so he could meet the girl. He found the steps to the 2nd floor and made his way up. He searched the whole 2nd floor, but he could not find a single door to the 3rd floor. He became frustrated and went back outside to the back of the store. He watched Mizuna's window as she sang another duet with the radio. There had to be a way to get up there. Not even 5 minutes later, Prince heard the sound of footsteps coming his way. He dove into a pile of bushes close by so he wouldn't get caught being out of school. He peeked through the bushes and saw an old lady with a backpack on her back and a megaphone in her hand walk right under where the girl's window was. She turned on the megaphone and said,
Mizuna, Mizuna, let down your rope.
Prince watched as the window opened and the girl he now knew was named Mizuna let down an incredibly long rope. The woman climbed up to her room. He hatched a plan to buy a megaphone that night and come back to this spot so he could pretend to be the woman he assumed was Mizuna's mother. Back in Mizuna's room, the woman lectured her about cranking her music too loud.
The customers can definitely hear you up here acting like a fool. You should be more considerate.
I'm sorry, Mother, Mizuna apologized. The woman took the backpack off her back and unzipped it. She pulled out a salad, a chicken sandwich, some spaghetti, and other healthy snacks.
Here's your lunch and dinner for the day. I'll be off now. I have business to attend to.
The woman said and started towards the door. Mizuna stopped her from leaving. Wait, Mother, if you please. I have something I'd like to ask you.
What is it?
The woman questioned. I'd like to...
Spit it out, child.
I want to go outside. There was a brief silence.
What?
The woman broke the silence. I said, I want to go outside. Mother, I am almost 18 years old, and I've never been outside once. You won't even let me have a phone. I see kids walk behind the store with phones all the time. I want to go outside and take pictures with other kids my age, too.
You better stop this nonsense. I told you the world is dangerous. Those kids are addicted to technology, and they're addicted to disgusting things like partying, smoking, and drinking. I will not let you become one of them. Pretty girls like you get taken advantage of. Pretty girls like you get kidnapped.
Mizuna snapped. Oh my gosh. Here we go again. I'm not a child, Mother. There's no fairness in forcing me to stay up here and rot my life away. I didn't even get to experience public school like all the other kids in town. I don't know a single person my age. This is no way to live. The books and the radio have told me it all. There's a whole life I'm missing, and you're taking away my chances at actually living.
Listen to me, Mizuna. I was never able to have a child. I tried, and there was never any luck. Now I finally have you, and I am not letting you go. You will not go out there and become a troubled child. I won't let it happen.
Wow, Mom. You have issues. But just because you have some deep-rooted issues due to your past, that doesn't mean you can take it out on me and ruin my life. Go to therapy or something. This set the woman off the edge, and she slapped Mizuna across the face. Tears welled up in Mizuna's eyes. You're a witch, Mizuna softly uttered. The woman replied,
I'm not a witch. I'm Wiccan. Get it right.
And with that, she left the room, and Mizuna alone. Mizuna started to knit and cry for a long time, until she heard something outside.
Mizuna, Mizuna, let down your rope.
Mizuna froze for a second. She wondered why her mother would be back so soon. She also wondered why her mother's voice sounded so different. It sounded lower and forced. A thought popped into her head, that maybe she was there to apologize. She didn't question it, and threw the rope down to the ground for her mother to climb. A few seconds later, a stranger climbed up into Mizuna's room, and she screamed.
Please don't scream. I just wanted to meet you. I heard you singing earlier, and you have such a beautiful voice. Then I saw your mother call out to you and climb up here, and I figured that was the only way I could meet you.
Mizuna took in his words and calmed down. You wanted to meet me? Why?
Well, I know a lot of people. Not to brag or anything, but I'm basically the prince of the local high school. As I was saying, I don't know you, but I want to know you.
Mizuna blushed hearing his kind words. She had never been praised before. She didn't know how to respond, so she just stared at the boy. She realized how handsome he was, and she felt something she had never felt before. Seeing as Mizuna wasn't going to continue the conversation, Prince kept talking.
My name? Well, nickname is Prince. Your name is Mizuna, right? I noticed you don't go to the local high school. Where do you go?
I don't go to school. I don't ever leave this room, actually. The boy gasped.
You've never left this room before? That's crazy. You have to be lying.
My mother keeps me up here to shield me from the world.
So you've never been to a party? You've never eaten at the local diner? You've never been to the beach?
Prince continued.
Well, we're gonna change that. I'll get you out of here.
No! Mizuna yelled. I'm sorry I raised my voice. It's just... my mother. She won't let me leave. I mean, she'd probably slap me again if I even tried.
How old are you?
I'm about to be 18, Mizuna replied. Prince smiled at her.
When you're 18, you're legally an adult. You can do whatever you want without parental permission. If you want to leave, then you can leave. Your life is about to start.
Mizuna's jaw dropped. She could live her own life? She could leave her room? The thought was absurd. However, the prince was from the outside world, so she assumed he knew what he was talking about. All right, I'll go with you. Mizuna made her final decision.
Mizuna,
Prince looked into her eyes.
I know we just met, but I feel a connection to you. You're not like all the other girls. You're different. Would you be my girlfriend?
Mizuna paused for a moment. She had never been a girlfriend or even a friend to anybody. The only person she talked to was her mother. However, being Prince's girlfriend sounded very nice. She shook her head yes to his question, and he hugged her. Prince made a plan.
So we're gonna tie the rope to something in your room, and then we'll both climb down it.
Mizuna looked out her window, and her eyes went blurry for a moment. She held her head in her hands. I don't think I can do that, Prince. I'm afraid. This little rope can't hold me. I've never climbed anything in my...
Okay, I see you're scared, but there's gotta be another option. Would you feel more secure stepping down a ladder? There's no arm strength needed for that.
Mizuna thought to herself. I think I can do that.
Fantastic. I'll bring a big metal ladder tomorrow night, and we'll get the hell out of here.
Prince said and left after hugging Mizuna one last time. Mizuna hummed happy songs to herself until she fell asleep. The next morning, Mizuna's mother figure came up to deliver food. She went on lecturing Mizuna about the usual things. Mizuna rolled her eyes and listened, but started to get annoyed. She wanted time to go by quickly, so she could see Prince. Ugh, can't you just leave so Prince can get here already? Mizuna muttered to herself, a little too loudly.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
The store owner said with venom in her voice. I didn't mean that, Mizuna started. I was just talking to myself.
Do not lie to me, Mizuna.
There was an awkward silence before Mizuna started talking again. Okay. A boy from the high school has been seeing me.
You rotten child! How many times have I told you the dangers of the outside world? I can't believe you went against my orders.
The woman grabbed a pair of scissors off of Mizuna's desk. She stomped around the room, and Mizuna closely followed. What are you doing? Mizuna asked. The woman started cutting and ripping the clothes, blankets, the rope, and all the other things that Mizuna knitted and sewed herself. Mizuna screamed and cried. Those took her years and years to finish, and they were now destroyed. After that, she threw Mizuna on the street and out of her store for good. That night, Prince came around to the back of the store and said the magic words.
Mizuna, Mizuna, let down your rope.
The rope came down for Prince to climb. What he didn't notice was all the cuts and rips in the rope. When he climbed to the top, he wasn't greeted by his new girlfriend, but the store owner. He stood there in shock until the woman started laughing and said,
You really thought you'd just get to take her away, huh? Well, now she's gone and you'll never see her again. The world doesn't need troubled children like you or her running around here.
Prince didn't know what to say. He was heartbroken. He just wanted to get out of there, so he slid down the rope as fast as possible. He went a little too fast, though, and he ended up falling and breaking one of his legs. He cried out in pain and started to limp for home. About 2 weeks later, Prince was walking through town, getting groceries for his family, on crutches. He was getting tired, so he sat down on a bench. Next to him was a homeless person, sleeping under a blanket. The wind blew hard, and the blanket flew off the person. Prince looked over and saw the homeless person was a beautiful girl, but not just any beautiful girl. This homeless person was Mizuna.
Mizuna!
He yelled. She looked back at him with confusion. Then the realization hit her, and she threw her arms around him. Prince! I missed you so much. My mother, she found out about you, and then she kicked me out, and then...
Shh, Mizuna, it's okay now. I found you, and this time I'm not letting you go.
He assured her. They both got up and headed towards Prince's house. Prince explained the whole situation to his parents. He didn't leave any details out. He explained Mizuna's insane mother, who trapped her for almost 18 years. He explained the abuse and neglect Mizuna had to endure all her life. And he explained how her mother punished and kicked out her daughter when she talked to someone from the outside world. Prince's folks were more than understanding, and they told Mizuna she could stay in the guest room in their house for as long as she wanted. She graciously accepted. A little while after staying with Prince's family, Mizuna eventually moved out. However, she didn't move out alone. She moved out with Prince. They continued dating and wanted to live alone together. This seemed to be the start of a beautiful relationship and a very possible happy ending.